That ain't thunder. That's Logisticize rolling in. Headlights cut, small town night, dust flies up in the neon light. Hauling miles with a heavy load, pulling up on the gravel road. Steel-toed boots on a wooden stage, a little rust and a rebel rage. From the back roads to the show, when the engine starts, you know. Feel that rumble in your chest, like a diesel hard out west. We're Logisticize, going loud and mean. Red dirt rebels on the gasoline train. Turn it up, let the tailgate drive. We don't slow down, we don't ever stop. From the back road straight to your soul. We came here just to lose control. If you're ready, let me hear you shout. Logisticize is rolling out. Six-string crying, a kick jump pound, booty heel stomping on southern ground. Cold drinks raised till the night's on fire, bringing heat like a flat-out tide. No GPS on a rebel route. We don't ask where we don't have doubt. If there's a stage in a wild crowd, crank it up and we play it loud. Feel that shake in the floor. That's the sound you waited for. We're Logisticize, roll loud and mean. Red dirt rebels on the gasoline train. Turn it up, let the tailgate drop. We don't slow down, we don't ever stop. From the back row straight to your soul. We came here just to lose control. If you're ready, let me hear you shout. Logisticize is rolling out. Well, Logisticize coming in hot, full tank fire, give it all we got. Let it rip like a midnight ride, bring in thunder you can't deny. From the black top to your hometown bar tonight, we're taking it way too far. So throw 'em up, let the whole world shout. Logisticize is in the house. Welcome to Logisticize 104. Hosted by Doug Holbrook. Y'all ready? Let's ride.
All right, everyone out there, welcome to the Logisticize 104 here. Third week in a row, hoping this goes a little bit smoother. I think we got all the bugs worked out. I have got Kaleb Holtsberry here in the studio with us. And Kaleb, how long have you been here?
I've been here for 4 years now.
4 years now. Boy, I remember that because you started just a little bit after I did, I believe, and you came into the van division, if I'm not mistaken, and you were my first project to finish off.
Yep.
How much experience did you have when you started?
6 months.
Okay, that's what I thought, because usually we do 2 years. We had to do a finishing program with you.
Yep.
So everyone out there, Kaleb's a fresh owner-operator. How long has it been now?
3 months.
Been about 3 months now. He worked through the process for quite a while. So 2 reasons he's in here today. One, had a slight incident at a truck stop this week we wanted to talk about. Nothing that Kaleb did wrong or anything like that. It was more the other party, but kind of one of the reasons why we like to keep you guys out of truck stops. That's I believe two of our safety committee members. That's Randy Eaton now, and you've been hit at a truck stop. Just you were hit pulling out, and Randy got hit when they were backing in. So I mean, just something to think about that out there, guys. Kaleb, you did the perfect thing. Was it Wednesday? It was Wednesday that happened. Perfect thing. Tell them what you did as soon as you felt that thing after you and I discussed those new cameras that go in there. I think I've told most everybody what that blue panic button's for, but yeah, go ahead and tell them exactly what you did.
So I felt them hitting the truck. It started dragging, whatnot. I hurried up, crawled out of bed, went and hit the blue button to make sure it was fully recording. And then, I tapped the horn at the guy to try to get him to stop, and he didn't feel like stopping.
Your opinion, and now obviously we've seen the video. I've sent you the video on that.
Yeah.
Did he know he hit you? Do you think he knew?
I think he knew he hit me, and that's why he sped off after he fully cleared the front of the truck and destroyed the rest of the brush guard. Yeah,
because he actually backed up. He put it in reverse, and he tried to reposition himself so that way he could get out around you, and then you could just see he powered through, ripping off the brush guard. Well, bending it over. I guess it didn't completely rip it off. All right. Let's get back to, so guys, one of the things with that is we're just trying to keep you out of those truck stops. We try to make it as convenient as we can, having fuel at the terminals, obviously paying you guys to fuel here. I know that doesn't go for you, Kaleb, but all you company drivers out there, that's 6 cents a gallon for pumping it here. Not only helps you out with not being stuck in a truck stop possibly and getting the hood ripped off the truck, but we are still looking at algae we're seeing out there and some of the fuel on the road. This is just going to help protect you. We treat ours differently, and we've literally have no problems. I've been here 4 years and not one breakdown due to fuel coming out of our yards. So I don't think you've ever had any trouble, have you?
No, never had any issue with the fuel coming out of here.
All right. So back to your adventure here at Logisticize. How long did you work on the vans division? I don't even remember when you switched over.
I was on the van division for 6 to 8 months.
I think it was till we got your safety score figured out. Yeah. I remember that down in the 40s. Were your 40s or 30s you were hanging out at?
I was high 30s, low 40s.
Okay. Well, a big improvement. What are you sitting at today?
99.
Oh, so I remember what got you. What'd you lose that point for? Did you hit speeding?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like 1 minute of speeding.
So just a little bit of background on this. Kaleb did come in here, like you mentioned. He only had 6 months experience out there. We do here at Logisticize typically require 2 years verifiable experience, but in certain cases, as you know, Kaleb's father knew Rick. I think there was an established trust there that you had been brought up around a truck and you kind of knew your way around better than some. Yeah. Came in here. We kind of had a finishing program. We put him on the road. Kaleb and I did a lot of talking, a lot of help with trip planning, but most of the focus was safety. You knew how to get the load from point A to point B pretty well. Didn't have any issues. You making appointments, getting out there and getting the job done, but most of it was safety. And I don't know if you can remember what the advice I gave you was, and maybe you can help some guys out there with safety score, although as a fleet, we're at a 96. So we really don't have a huge speeding issue.
No, I say the best information you gave me for that was whether you're doing 55 or you're doing 60 in the same spot, the only difference is going to be 2 or 3 minutes.
Yeah,
there's no point in speeding.
And typically in a car, obviously 5 miles per hour is 5 minutes you're going to gain every hour. The only difference in a truck is you can't speed up, slow down, make your stops, do what you need to do in that amount of time. So it really, truly, a few miles an hour isn't going to make a big difference. And you can go up to 4.9 over before it starts taking points away. And I think we had you set your cruise at what, right on the speed limit to carry you for downhills or anything like that when you got weight on, or did we set you for 1 or 2 over?
You set me for 2 over.
So, and your score shot to what?
I think in the first week I went up to mid 50s, and then after that we started just crawling up further and further.
Yeah, you are. I believe you're always above 80 after that. Your bonuses, you started getting paid your bonus, and I mean, had to be a big difference. Even back then, the bonus was pretty significant for the van division. I mean, I think you could make up to $12,000 extra a year, which is about average for van right now. If they have 100 and obviously put the miles in. So I mean, that was pretty nice. I bet in the back pocket every month.
Oh, it was. It started being a lot nicer the better the score got.
Yeah, because you keep more of a percentage of it. Yeah, I mean, that money's meant there for you guys. It's not. We aren't trying to keep it. It's all out there in a big pool. And to be truthful, if we don't spend enough of it, Rick gets a little upset that we're not giving away enough money, you guys. So keep those scores up. Everybody, you guys do a great job. I do want to thank you guys again. Just mention here real quick, we're over halfway through the month. No violations out there. We did get an overweight yesterday, but it did not go on an inspection. It was just a citation out of North Carolina. Did get that taken care of, but you guys are having another great month. It's completely flawless again. We stand to gain 57 points in hours of service, which I know that doesn't mean a lot to you guys out there, but that's a big chunk. And there's a lot of points we're getting back this month. Unfortunately, we're not getting any crash points back. 2 years ago in April, we didn't crash any trucks, so we don't get any points back.
Yeah.
All right, Kaleb, back to you. All right. So you went over to flatbed about 8 months after you got here. We worked on your safety. You had good trip planning skills. Kind of let everybody know, in case there's any van drivers out there maybe looking to make the jump. I know another safety committee member this week, Garrett Hall, just switched over from van to flatbed. So congratulations out there to you, Garrett, if you're listening. How was that transition? What did you have to learn? Had you had exposure to flatbed freight before you came into Logisticize? Or, was that something that Kurt went over tie downs with you, or did we put you with somebody else? How did that? I wasn't safety at the time.
So for that transition for me, it actually was a lot smoother because I did have experience with flatbed beforehand.
Where did you do that at?
So I was working at Boffman Tile
Okay.
at that point in time, and we do flatbed, big giant maxi tile rolls.
Okay. All right.
And with that, you had to tie those down. So you had the base necessities of it. The only thing that they really taught me was for the steel trusses that we haul, just the doing belly
chain
tie downs.
Yep.
To help hold everything together. That was really the only thing that I had to be taught or shown how to do.
Okay.
Didn't really send me with anyone until they had me go on oversize, because I'd never hauled an oversized load before. So they sent me with 2 other guys to South Dakota for my first oversized run.
Let's talk about that real quick. So never having hauled oversized before, obviously they broke you in on legal loads.
Yeah.
I'm assuming for a period of time. Your safety score remained good, so you started to qualify and you had the experience to start hauling oversized loads. And for those out there, I don't think we have anybody in the flatbed fleet that's below an 80. But tell everybody kind of what's the pay difference when you get to haul something oversized versus a legal load out there for owner operators or even company drivers. I mean, I know we have a $2,000 guarantee out there for the flatbed division, but if you earn over the $2,000 guarantee, that's your money to keep.
Oh yeah. The pay difference, it is significant, but it's not as big as what you would think, because they do pay a certain cents per mile for the oversize itself, depending on how long it is. It's a different amount, and also depending on how far it's going.
Yes.
So you're running short trips, you don't really see too much of a difference, maybe $100 to $150 per load. Now, when you start going out over the road, like South Dakota, Minnesota, Southern Kentucky, then you start seeing that increase.
Then you can put some money in your pocket. And I know a lot of times, well, I guess I overhear out of my office that Kurt does have some problems getting the guys that go on the longer loads, just kind of, I guess, $400 or $500 more than a legal load. I mean, what's about the difference there since you've been doing this long enough now? You probably know.
The difference is anywhere between about $200 to $500 in difference.
Okay. Of course, that comes with a lot of responsibilities that are added on top of that. And so your first oversized load, how long was it?
My first oversized load was a 75-foot load going to Watertown, South Dakota.
Okay. And 3 of you went up there, all oversized?
Yes. All 3 of us went up all oversized.
Escorts, or you just have to have permitted loads? Okay.
Just permitted loads. We ran permits all the way through. Took us up through Chicago, crossed 80 all the way across Iowa, and then shot up 29 up through South Dakota.
Okay. All right. What's the longest load you've pulled out there for oversize right now?
I think the longest I've hauled is 120.
Okay. Now obviously 40-foot, big difference between 80 and 120. What was the biggest challenge, or I guess, and maybe this isn't your personality type, did you have any kind of anxiety going into that first 80-foot load? And I know my very first job where I was headed to New York City, I was a little nervous going out there as a reefer work, and I had to go out all over the boroughs and deliver. And of course, you hear the horror stories out there, New York City. And I over-researched. I was nervous about what roads to get on, what not to. And it was my responsibility to plan that out. Nobody, picked my route for me. What was your thoughts headed into that first oversized load when you took off with it?
My biggest anxiety was actually reading the permits. Because at that point in time, I did not fully understand the way that they write the routes out.
Okay.
And making sure that I followed all the rest of the rules that are involved with the oversized loads. That was my biggest worry. The driving portion of it's not really any different from a standard legal load. I mean, yeah, you have to watch your overhang off the backside, but other than that, there isn't much of a difference.
Okay. That was obviously an 80s on a stretch. It's not going to be on a
it was on a stretch. It was on a stretch. It was on a we had it stretched out to 772.
Okay. So you only had an 8-foot overhang in total there.
Correct.
Now, obviously, that's going to make your turns have to run wider. However, permitted routes have they're allotting for that extra space. So they're supposed to. Now, is there any time that you've ever, and through no fault, these are all, we use a permit service that pulls these routes for us and things. Ever gotten in a hairy situation with an oversize where, maybe there wasn't quite enough room?
Yes, actually just happened 4 weeks ago.
Okay.
Going to Frankfort, Kentucky. I was hauling a 88 footer down there, and it permitted me through a route that had a harsh left-hand turn next to a hillside.
Okay.
I actually could not physically take the route because if I was going to turn it, I was either going to dump the trailer over or I was going to completely damage the tires and axles and everything.
And what did you have to do to pivot at that point?
That point, I didn't really have I noticed that I was not going to be able to make it, and I actually called into the office to ask Kurt what he needed from me or needed me to do at that point in time, and then got myself into a spot where traffic could keep flowing around me.
Okay.
And then we went from there of what I needed to do
till you got a plan put together there. So, I mean, you guys, if you have anything out there, a situation where a truck's not going to fit, I know we've had a few incidents we discussed last week. Call us here at the office. We're here to help you guys. Just in this example right here, it allows Kurt, Brian, myself, or whoever you need the help from to take a second, try to help you out from more of a bird's eye view. Whereas you guys, on the ground right there don't have that. And we can see on maps overhead. Obviously, you have your phones, but at that point in time, you're trying to communicate and you're worried about traffic getting around you when the cops are going to show up to give you a hard time. So, all right. Well, do you enjoy pulling the oversized loads more than standards? Is it more of a challenge? Or to you, it's kind of, let's get the load picked up, let's get it tied down right and get down the road?
I enjoy the oversize more. It's not necessarily more challenging, but you definitely have more work involved in it.
Okay. I mean, obviously you study your permits and things like that. And I want to get back to that real quick. So you said that was one of the most difficult, the transitioning over was getting a hold of a permit and knowing what to look for and what to follow on those, which we found out, last year. And I'm learning along the way too. I don't have a lot of flatbed, exposure outside of being here. There's some pretty particular items on some of those permits. Some states you must have a paper copy. It must be in your possession.
Yep.
Any advice you can give out there to the guys that maybe are just coming into the flatbed division and haven't hauled any oversize, or maybe those guys in the van division that are looking to make a switch? What is your advice on how you work through that process? And obviously, we're successful at it because you end up buying a truck and moving on as an owner operator.
Read all of it, and if you have questions, call in. We can always find the answer, whether it be Kurt, you, Brian. We can always find the answer to what we needed.
Rick wants a little attaboy right there. You can call Rick too.
You can also call Rick too with the oversize.
Oh, thanks for stopping in, Rick. It's the biggest thing. Call us here. We'll help you out. But you do have to read the permit. I know. Yes. I've talked to several guys, and I've been in a hurry myself as well. I've gotten in there. I have actually, hauling liquid fertilizers and things when I was doing tank work. There'd be special instructions. I wouldn't be allowed on this route, that route. And I had to learn to settle down, take a look at everything. And I think everybody does that at some point in time. What's the worst state permits to find information there where you got to be really careful that you've hauled out there so far?
Worst state, the one that gives the least amount of information and kind of leaves a lot of stuff up to the wind is between Minnesota and Wisconsin, honestly.
Okay. Yeah, Wisconsin, I think we had some trouble, and I know Minnesota likes to pull us in when we're oversized, not necessarily give us a hard time about the particulars of the permits, but boy, they go through the truck and the trailer and
oh yes.
Yeah, I mean, your yellow lights, yellow sign, everything's flashing. It's just a big target. No different than having a hazmat placard on the side of it. They're going to pull you over.
Yep, pretty much.
So, all right. Well, so how long, moving on here, what you did, what, 3.5 or 3 years, about 3 years then as a company driver in the flatbed division, a little
Yep.
over. How long ago did you start working the process, or did you come up with, hey, I think I want to own a truck? You know, I like to run my own company, run my own business. Now, mind you, you went the route of purchasing one from here.
Yep.
Is also the route of purchasing your own out there. You know, whichever is you feel is the best fit for you. But I'd like to take the time and, you know, kind of go through some of the details of this process, simply because I've had 4 phone calls this week alone on guys that do have some interest, and they've expressed interest in buying their own. They've also expressed interest in leasing maybe one of our tractors here. So kind of, what was the first thing that came to mind to you and you said, hey, I think I want to own my own?
The first thing really came to mind is, of course, I wanted to get my own truck, but I also needed to do the research into what it all entailed, because it's not easy. I mean, I have been doing this for 3 months now. I still call people to get more information because it's a constant learning. But what happened with me is it was about 1.5 years ago. I started sitting there thinking that, hey, I want to try this out. I actually came in and talked to you, and I talked to Rick also about the process, what all it entailed. Going from there, you actually gave me real good information. You can look off your regular truck. You take a notepad, write down all of your stuff, how much you're spending in fuel, how much you're going through there, and figure out if it's something you actually want to try or not.
And that's one of the biggest things right there that I tried to impress upon you when you were talking to me. And it's something that I was very grateful. I worked for Crowell Camp Trucking out of Allenton, Wisconsin for 8 years. I have nothing bad to say about them. The shop manager was Mike Crowell-Camp. He set me down. He said, I know you want to own a truck. He goes, this is what I suggest. And that was exactly, he goes, I'll give you the numbers for that truck. He goes, you've been here long enough. I'll share the numbers on that truck so you can get to figure out, or you can try to figure out, is this profitable for me? Is this something I want to pursue? And I believe is for 2 years, I kept books on my truck. I kept track of my fuel mileage manually. I kept track of what the loads paid as best as I could. And I tried to figure out what it was going to cost me to drive a truck up and down the road. And then you go out there and you start researching, you know, freight rates and things like that. Yep. Now you have a little bit more of a controlled situation here, since we have a wonderful customer in New Millennium who does take care of us. But we also, you know, you guys, not me, you guys take care of them as well. We have very few incidents with them delivering freight. So now moving on with that, how long did you sit down, put stuff on paper, and what was the deciding factor where you said, okay, these numbers make sense to me. I think I can make a go of this?
I sat down for close to a year doing it. And the other portion of that helped me with thinking, okay, I want to finish fully pursuing it, is all the rest of our owner operators here, they don't mind talking to you. So I actually went through and I talked to almost every single one of them, got information, and once it finally all started clicking in my head of, okay, this is what I need to do for said situations, it started all clicking. And that's when I started coming in and talking to Rick more, being like, all right, I want to actually fully proceed with the process and get a truck.
All right. And how'd that first conversation go with Rick? What, you just rolled in and said, hey, I want one of your trucks?
Kind of. I walked in, I said, hey, I'm looking at getting a truck. I just want to talk to you about it, see what your deal is, what it would cost, so on and so forth. And I mean, he works very well with you. He doesn't want to see you fail, so he watches. Right?
That's what I want to stop you here real quick, because that's one thing that I believe sets Logisticize apart, at least the owner operator program or the lease operator program. Most companies, I mean, all you guys see it out there, lease purchase. They don't care if you make money. They're trying to get you to pay the truck payment while they make the money while you run up and down the road. Is there companies out there that do have successful lease purchase programs? Yes, there are some out there. They're few and far between. Most of that is to get the driver to pay for the bills on the tractor to where they don't have the cost. They have their percentage they made in the load, and whatever's left over for the poor driver at that point in some of these big companies, it's not enough to live on. So you end up going bankrupt. You turn it back in. Then they take that $10,000 down payment from the next guy, and they just keep putting it in their pocket. And it's a vicious cycle.
Yep.
So a little bit what's different here is you actually have to sit down. You had a conversation with Rick. Yep. And I'm assuming somewhere in that conversation was, okay, Kaleb, this is your numbers. This is how you ran. Let's look at your truck you're currently doing. Let's see if you could even be profitable. Because if you can't be profitable, why would I sell you a truck that you're going to just give right back to me? So explain a little bit how that talks went with him and what he explained for that.
We sat down. We went through the numbers for the truck for payments, whatnot. We went through. Started looking at fuel and freight prices side by side, along with what we were already currently getting, to see if it actually would be profitable to even try at said point. Because when I went in, truck prices were still a little bit high. Fuel was low though, but by the end of it, I wouldn't be making money.
Okay.
So me and him actually sat and talked, and we kind of waited out the storm and started watching prices come down for everything. So then that's when me and him sat down and fully went through the rest of the process to make sure that
it would work.
It all worked.
And there was other conversations that were had as well. Because I know you see us talk about idlers out there. One of Kaleb's worst problems was taking all that money and blowing it out the stacks. Now that it's your money, and it is your money.
Yeah.
Does it registers in the back of your head of what the cost of that is to you, the bottom dollar each month?
Yes.
So
that does.
You were ripping through about $800 a month in fuel idling, and that was before obviously the prices spiked to $5 a gallon. So It's just going to increase by that much more. I'd say that would be around what, $1,200 now. That's a lot over the course of a month.
Oh, it is.
That's money out of your pocket that you could be putting back to save for, a major repair if that were to ever happen. But yeah, I know you and I talked about that. Well, there's some things that you adjusted after you started keeping track of the numbers. What are some of the things that you adjusted in there that helped you get to the point where you and Rick came to agreement and said, okay, you're profitable, this will work out for you. Let's start it. What changes did you make to get to that point? Or was it all just economy?
It was all just economy.
Okay. You didn't stop idling the truck more? I know you did.
I have, especially after I've taken it over. I have stopped idling the truck as much as what I did. It sits off more than it's on. At least I like to try to be that way, because that honestly does save you quite a bit of money in the long and short run. Because I actually just went and did taxes today, and in a short amount of time, I spent $13,000 in fuel.
Yeah, especially with the prices right now.
Yeah.
Now, thankfully, there's fuel surcharge and things that help to help offset it, but that's still a big fuel price.
Oh,
it's your number one expense. It's always going to be. It never changes as long as you're driving up and down the road. That is.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, it sounds like that you got to the point. Then you and Rick came to an agreement, and you got behind the wheel. I know it's you're in 553.
Yep.
How is it going so far? And don't talk numbers. That's not what this here for. But for you, as far as what you seen ahead of time and what you planned for, you did set yourself up an LLC. I believe you and I talked about that. You went and got a tax attorney to make sure that you weren't going to fall into one of the main traps of getting behind on taxes. And then it's all downhill from there. You're just chasing everything forever.
Yeah.
What are you seeing as far as in that improvements that you made that has helped you now? And are you profitable? Not a number. Are you seeing an improvement in life for you? And is it satisfactory to you, or is it satisfying you to own your own truck? Hey, I'm running this business. This is mine, and I'm doing it well.
Yes. It actually has been very profitable. And I mean, it is very satisfactory to me to do it this way. The one thing that has helped me with the situation is I have always wanted to own my own truck.
Yeah, you talked about it since the first month you were here. I remember
Yeah.
you telling me when you and I were introduced. I believe your dad was here when you came in and I was introduced to you. And I almost believe the talk was that day when you guys were out in the lobby and Rick and you guys were all having a conversation.
Yep. I say that it's something I've always wanted to do. I've always want to be a part of. And that drive alone has severely helped me with the process.
Okay.
So since doing it, yes, it's been very satisfactory to me in life. It's definitely helped. And I thoroughly enjoy it.
Great. I'm glad that it's worked out. You've done the right things. You've put yourself in a good position to be profitable. We're mowing the lawn outside when I'm trying to do this. Sorry about that, guys. I don't know if I'll be able to tone out the mower, but yes, that it's not easy to do. It's not easy to set yourself up correctly. If guys think you can just put some cash down and you're in the truck and rolling, there's so much more that goes into it. It is not a company driver position anymore at all, is it?
It is not. Now everything is on you.
Yep. And so you have I'm assuming a maintenance escrow. You're putting money back so that way when repairs happen, and that's pretty standard.
Yeah.
Yes. What is so now? Tell me, now you got through that, what is your favorite part of owning the truck, having the business? What is the best feeling, or what is the best thing that has came out of that for you?
That's a tough question to put on the spot.
That's why we're here. We ask the tough ones.
Probably the best thing about it is,
I mean, there's got to be a small sense of pride in succeeding and doing it on your own.
Yeah, there is a small sense of pride in succeeding. Probably the best thing is actually the backing of friends and family with it, of not trying to dissuade me from doing it, but actually believing that I could accomplish it. That's probably been the best thing with starting it, because a lot of people have seen it start to grow itself.
Nice.
And
so you had support from family, friends, and I know that you've leaned on people here as well.
Yep.
Owner operators out there. I do. Very grateful. We have a great group of owner operators. Almost every single one of them will sit there and they'll help a guy out as long as he's willing and he's open to some help and doesn't, act like they know everything. I believe every one of them out there. I've heard stories of them walking up, giving a guy a pointer, and as long as that guy was receptive to it, they'll keep coming back and they'll helping a guy out.
Oh yes, they will.
So guys out there, go ahead. If you have any questions, I know, like I said, I've had several phone calls this week on this subject. If you have any questions on this out there that you'd like to ask, this is going to kind of be our topic for the day. And if no one has any questions, we're going to get ready to wrap it up here pretty shortly. Kaleb, as far as safety goes on an owner operator's side, one of the things that I struggle with is you guys aren't paid a bonus. Right?
Yes.
There's no safety incentive. There's anything like that. So in your head, how do you view that? And you can give me an honest answer.
I haven't really thought about that because it's how it's been since I've been here. Like, I've always known that the owner operators don't get it.
But do you feel like clearly there's a difference between owning your own truck and being a company driver. Do you feel like once you've moved on to become an owner operator that there's more of a sense of responsibility since it's your business, your name is on it, and it's time to get it done right?
Yeah, there is definitely a lot more responsibility in it. So that's why, I was never really worried about said bonus, because now instead of me just representing your company, Logisticize,
sure,
now I'm also representing myself.
Yes.
So there's a lot more responsibility into it. So if you're not, as an owner operator, when you're not automatically paying attention to it, then you're not really helping anyone out.
Yeah, it's a very good point. So, all right, guys out there, do you guys have any questions for Kaleb here before we start wrapping this up? Go ahead and put your hands up. Randy and Josh, I see you guys out there. I'm going to unmute your mics. You guys have anything for Kaleb here? You want to give him a hard time or anything out there, Josh? Come on.
I don't really have anything bad to say about it.
Now, see, when you're in person and live, it's a whole different story.
I run with him a little bit here and there. He knows that. If I got something to say, he knows I'm going to say it.
Yep.
He's the same way, so it is what it is.
So is that anything that you'd ever be looking into, Josh, switching over, becoming an owner operator at some point? Are you happy with the way things are for you right now?
It's funny because Kaleb and I had just talked about that, I don't know, 2 or 3 days ago. And we've been kicking it around a little bit, so just trying to figure out if it's the right time and everything for me. So.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing, is like Kaleb said, the support from home. That's one of the biggest things, especially when you're going to be gone throughout the week. It takes, it's a completely different family dynamic. Obviously, all of us know that. We've been in this business for long enough. So, that is a very good point that you make there, Josh. Is it something, what's the hesitation now? Just waiting to see if it's the right time?
I really don't have much of a hesitation. It's just kind of like, really, with everything going on overseas and everything, I'm just kind of stepping back a little bit because we don't really know what's going to happen, or you know what I mean. So, fuel prices could skyrocket to $8 a gallon. We don't know yet,
Yeah,
so
you're
just kind of just kind of playing it by ear, kind of like Kaleb did in the start. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
nothing really other than that holding me back.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that things are improving. We've seen improvement with freight rates out there. Freight's definitely opening up. Obviously, flatbed work gets a little bit heavier in the summer months or the warm weather months. Randy Eaton, you're out there. I see you on. I know that you've owned your own truck before. What was your experience out there, and what freight did you run?
I had a flatbed, ran a little bit of everything. I never did oversize, but I don't know. It was an experience.
What did you enjoy having the extra responsibility? Because I'm sure that there was a lot more you had to keep track of at that point, or did it just come to a point where, hey, this isn't kind of worth it for me, I'd like to move on to something else?
When I put my tractor through about 50 yards of trees, I decided I wasn't going to get another one.
That will do it. Thankfully you're all right. Hey, there's who we got that just called in here? Sorry. I cannot tell. There's not a name on that. There's somebody else on there, guys. Starts with the username HPD. Who is that out there? It doesn't give me your real name.
Ken.
Hey there, Ken. What do you know?
Oh, got a question for him. Just
sure, go ahead.
Roundabout figure. What was the initial startup cost around? I don't want to know the exact how much, but how much around did it cost you to start from going from a driver to a company owner operator, roughly?
Working with Rick, about a round number was about $500 is what it cost me. And that was doing my LLC and getting all of that set up with the banks and whatnot. It was about $500 total. After that, I didn't actually have to put a down payment or anything on the truck itself because I was working with Rick. You can if you want to, but at that point in time, he didn't require me to put anything down, and that was included in our agreement for the payment of the truck.
And I think that can be situational as well. I mean, you had several years in here. You had a proven work history, and I think that goes a long ways. Especially here with the loyalty and that fact. So that is subject to change. And one thing I do want to point out is you do have to have 6 months in before you start exploring, becoming a lease operator or owner operator here. So I wanted to throw that out there just in case any of you guys that were just joining us here were thinking about moving that direction.
Okay.
Do you have anything else out there, Ken, that you wanted to ask?
Nope. Just have everybody have a safe weekend.
Yeah, hopefully so. It looks like we're going to have a little bit of a cool off here. It looks like we're waking up Sunday morning at 28 degrees again.
And snow.
Yeah, well, don't let's not go that far. We got to be done with that for the year.
Yeah.
No, we're not.
So,
Saturday and Sunday snow.
yeah, that's what it's looking like out there. Well, all right, everybody. If there's no one else that has anything to say here, I want to thank Kaleb for coming in here on his day off, taking his time to sit down and talk to us about what it took to become an owner operator, share his experiences here. Kaleb, I wish you all the best. Hopefully that your success continues. If just in the background, if you continue to pay attention to details like you have, and you take care and you drive that thing like a professional, I don't think that you're going to have any issues.
No.
So everybody out there, I appreciate you joining us. We're going to do it again next Friday at 1:04. Thank you very much and have a safe weekend out there.
Down at the new Millennium Gates, where the heavy iron weights, the dawn breaks cold against the diesel grates. You're sitting down the chains on a skeleton of steel, feeling every pound through the steering wheel. Copper cores going like a copperhead snake, tied to the flatbed with no room for a mistake. It's a wide, low gamble on a narrow strip road, carrying the weight of a monumental load. Oh! This is for the kings of the outside lane, the ones who conquer the mountain and the rain. The Logisticize 104 is calling out your name, for the grit in your teeth and the pride in the frame. Moving the bones of the cities yet to rise, with the highway burning in your steady eye. Oh, it ain't just cargo bolted to a trailer floor. Oh, it's a pulse of the country knocking in at the door. Oh, they see an oversized sign and they pull to the side, but they don't know the mastery deep in the ride. From the trust to the corner to the long haul climb, you're punching the clock against the hammer out. The asphalt's a teacher and the lessons are hard, measuring the inches in a gravel strewn yard. You navigate the turns where the weak carts fail, leaving a silver streak on a lonesome trail. New millenniums pass with their hands on the gear, filtering the static till the mission is clear. No room for the timid when the tonnage gets high, just the roar of the engine under a wide open sky. This is for the kings of the outside lane, the ones who conquer the mountain and the rain. The Logisticize 104.